So here's the real question. How do dentists like you, who aren't willing to let insurance dictate how you will run your practice, who want to create incredibly profitable practices without sacrificing your time or sanity, how do you create the strategies to ensure your practice not only survives, but thrives in the 21st century? That's the blaring question, and Dr. Steve Schlintz is here to provide the answers. Welcome to Dental Practice Freedom Radio.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dr. Steve Schlintz, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Dental Practice Freedom Radio. And I'm going to record 2 episodes here. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek behind what it is that I do. I'm going to record 2 episodes that I think are going to be very important, maybe a little bit different than what I'm used to. But once we do these 2, we're going to go really deep down into the comprehensive-based process again that I talk a lot about, just to give you guys more value in that respect. But before I do that, I think these 2 things are actually vitally important. And I don't know if I'm going to record. I guess I'll just decide how long this first one is. Some people script out their podcast. It's so fascinating. People have asked me, like, how do you do your podcast? Do you write it all out? Do you, do this, and this? And it's like, no, literally, I pull my laptop out. I plug in my microphone and I record. And then I put an intro and outro music on it, and then that's it. I don't edit it. I don't I don't do any of the stuff that most people do. And there's pros and cons to that, but I love it because, obviously I can be anywhere and record a podcast episode. So obviously the video thing, if you guys have been listening to my podcast, I think episode 90 something, I decided I want to do a video-based podcast. That wasn't a flyer at that point in time. Maybe I'll do it in the future. I'm very interested in starting some more video-based content, but not right now. Just not going to happen. Today, what I want to talk about, though, is something that's very, very important when you start to get coaching. And myself, I've personally experienced this, and what made me think of this is I was walking the other day, and I saw a bridge, and this bridge was on a nature trail, and it was a larger bridge. It was kind of an intersection with, where the road meets, and there's a tiny little town there, and you can kind of visualize this. You get the river, and then this bridge, this little overpass that takes, you from one side of the river to the next. It's the epitome of a bridge. But it was under construction and it said bridge closed. But the bridge was still intact. It actually looked like it was fine. You could drive over it. And I thought it was interesting, and I almost think in metaphors. How many times that actually happens in real life, for dentists, for entrepreneurs, for coaches, myself. There is a bridge, and usually what ends up happening is you want to get from point A to point B, right? Every dentist I talk to, every dentist I work with, every coach that I work with, there's a gap between where they're at and where they want to go, and that's why they get coaching, right? If everybody was like, hey, I'm totally fine with where I'm at, I don't want to get any better, you're not going to need a coach. But usually there's something that you're trying to accomplish, and it's on the other side of the river, and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go there, but I don't know how to cross this river. And then what happens is usually a coach or a mentor pops up. There's that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And so you say, this is the coach. Like, this person's going to be able to help me get from point A to point B in the straightest shot, the fastest time necessary. Now, here's the interesting thing that happens. And I've seen this happen, especially in the mindset arena. There's a reason that I start a lot of clients with mindset and understanding visualization, understanding limiting beliefs, understanding paradigms, understanding subconscious and conscious thinking. There are so many hidden beliefs that a lot of people have about themselves and their self-image that hold them back from going where they want to go. And my job as a coach is to give them the information for them to discover what those limiting beliefs are of themselves. I can't tell them what they are. I can't move them in a certain direction until they come to that epiphany themselves. It's the same way in my dental practice when I work with my patients. The best patients that I have, the ones that move forward with therapy or care, are the ones that come to the epiphany themselves that if they rely on a third party like insurance or even the dentist to take care of them and create health for them, it will never happen. They have to take responsibility for their own health. My coaching clients, when I work on mindset, it's the same thing. Until they can have the epiphany themselves, that they themselves are the problem, but they are also the solution, none of my coaching will actually matter. If I tell them what to do and then they go do it, but they don't understand the root cause of why they had that problem in the first place, they inevitably will have the same problem again, and usually it's magnified, right? The answer to growing businesses is not scale, 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 and just hope for the best, because the problems that are in your business right now will only magnify as you get more successful. They don't get less magnified, they get more magnified. And so the reason I bring this story up is, if you're getting coaching, I want you to ask yourself, are you closing the bridge before it was ever open and you drove through it? And the reason I bring this up is it doesn't happen very often, but occasionally I'll get clients that I give them the tools that will get them to understand what their own limiting beliefs are, their own paradigms, their own belief systems, and they can work through that and they'll be majorly successful. But some, when I give them that, they don't even want to go there. They don't want to see that. And Joseph Campbell had a great quote. And you study mythology. I mean, if you guys don't know who Joseph Campbell is, need to go, if you're ready to deep dive into some deep stuff, go study Joseph Campbell. And the quote was, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek." And a lot of people look at that and they might think more external, right? I got to go do that activity. I got to go do this. I got to do this. I will tell you that most people's cave that they fear to enter is themselves. And when you dig into yourself and why you operate the things you do, or the way you do, you will find that there's usually one or two things that if you can just make a change in your image in regard to those one or two things, everything will change for you. See, I used to believe that in order for me to be more successful, I just had to learn more, right? If I could just out-learn people and out-know them, I'd be successful. And I've come to the realization that that actually has no bearing on success whatsoever. Anybody that talks to me knows that I used to have a Facebook book club that was started as an offshoot to a really popular Facebook group. But it was a natural extension of who I am, because if you look, I have thousands of books. And I used to consume content like no other. And one of my strengths is taking very unrelated subjects and merging them together and create kind of like unifying things that unify those subjects together. And so I would do this. I'd be able to like pull quotes and books and, study this, and I'd be able to bring it all together. And I didn't have a photographic memory, but I was a very systems-based thinker even at an early age. So I would think, how does this relate to that? And what does this look like? And how can I take this business principle, apply it to my practice, but also my personal life, right? And I found that everything is a system. And if you understand systems better, you'll be more successful. But the process of being successful is also a system. And so learning a bunch of information has nothing to do with you being successful. And what I find is when I work with people, those one or two there's usually one or two things. It's the 80-20 principle, but there's 20% of your self-image is driving 80% of your results. And so if you are chronically underperforming, if you are saying, I'm giving everything I possibly can and I cannot get the result I want, what is going on? I need to do more. I need to hustle harder, right? No, you need to stop hustling. You need to evaluate what is going on internally that's creating the results you're getting. And some people just aren't ready for that. And it actually is very painful for me as a coach to watch that, because I know they're right there. And they just need to get this themselves. They need to understand this. And if they don't, they're never going to go anywhere. And I've seen this now a couple times in the last year of coaching, that somebody is ready to go. and they just stop. They close the bridge before I have an opportunity for them to cross it. They close their own bridge, and it's painful. It's painful as a coach because my job is to help you get results. And when I see somebody shut down and say, this just isn't for me, and I didn't expect this, but then they tell me the problems they're having in their business, and I know they're internal. That really hurts me as a coach, because I know no matter what they do going forward, whatever programs they're going to buy, whatever stuff they're going to invest in, it's not going to work, because the root problem is internal. It's not the programs. It's not the degrees. It's not the coaching elements. It's internal. And if you have an internal belief system about something and you don't change it, and it's preventing results from coming to you, you'll continue to get the same results. And I've seen this, especially in the consulting community. It's very interesting to me. I'm all about creating value and giving. If you guys have listened to my podcast, you know that. I try to over-deliver on everything. But I also know that there's certain limits that I have as a coaching consultant that I won't carry and cross those in the hopes of getting a better result. Like, I travel a lot for my practice and hopping in between 2 states, but I do maybe one speaking gig to my clients a month. And that's about it for me. I don't want to be speaking at a ton of conferences. I don't want to live that lifestyle, but I want to get my clients results. And so if you operate, for example, I see this a lot from coaches and consultants. They operate from the standpoint that they have to be there in person. They have to handhold everybody in order to get a result. That's actually not true. That's not true at all. In fact, a lot of times that actually prevents the teams from growing and developing, because the second the coach or consultants walks out of that equation, the team will go right back to where they were. They never changed the belief system of the team. They never changed the self-image of the team. They never changed the work patterns of the team. And so the second that the coach or consultant leaves, the office plummets, and guess what? Then the coach or consultant has to come back in and do all the work again. Like, I don't want a coach that's going to have to coach me for the rest of my life. That doesn't make any sense to me. But the moral of the story, and I'm diverging a little bit, but like, the moral of the story is, if you are not getting a result you want, and you have opportunities to get in front of people that will help you get the result, and they're trying to help you, start to analyze internally what is going on that makes you feel uncomfortable if you're never able to get the result and you're working with some of the best coaches in the industry. Because honestly, those coaches are doing something for a specific reason, because they want to get you a result. And I've heard this all the time. Even with my clients, they're like, well, what if I only did it this way? What if I only did it this way? And I would tell them, I'm like, listen, I've been doing this for 5 years now. I've been taking Bob Proctor's material and helping people with mindset for 5 years, and I've learned some things, and I know what gets results. Why would you want to shortcut the process? The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. The internal work is vital, guys. If you don't do the internal work, you may luck out. I'm not saying you won't luck out, but you're still going to have to deal with you at the end of the day. And I've had to do this work myself, and I'm continually doing it, and it's been an eye-opening experience for me, because even after 5 years, I'm learning so much about myself in the last year, about who I am, why I do what I do, how I operate, what things hold me back, what coaching do I need, and it's internal work. It's not always about the marketing of your business. It's not always about the systems in your business or the policies in your business. A lot of it is internal. But when you master that piece, that's where the magic happens. It really, really does. So hopefully you guys got value out of this. If you guys are getting value out of the podcast, please leave a review or a rating. That would mean the world to me. It helps me get this podcast out to more people. And as always, there's free training in the description of the actual podcast episode itself. I encourage you guys, if you are struggling and you want more, reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you any way that I can. And if I can't help you, I can find coaches and mentors that'll get you where you want to go. So it's always a pleasure. And I'm going to stop this recording so I can get on to the next one and talk about something really, really fun. So you guys take care. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode on Dental Practice Freedom Radio with Dr. Steve Schlintz. We'll see you on the next episode.